Alright, I'm going to be attempting to show you how to make a stitchless Scandi sheath. This is actually my first piece of leather work right here. I don't know how much of a mentor I am, but there's no videos online on how to do it. I thought I'd share it with you. So basically we're making a sheath with an insert. It has no stitching or glue. It's just held together with an interlocking lace right here. It has a little bit of a drip right here. It's sort of a Scandinavian style. The laces come through and you just tie it onto your belt, or you can tie it onto a split ring and then attach a dangler to that. On the one we're doing today, we're actually, this is it right here, we're actually going to put a Chicago screw and a belt clip on after we put the sheath on, and that should give a nice mounting spot for a sideways belt clip. So you start off by making some kind of insert for the sheath. Here I have Kydex. I molded it and got it to a shape that I thought would lend itself well to the sheath. There's a hole right here that's going to be for the Chicago screw and clip. I put a little wooden insert right here. It's a popsicle stick, and one right here as well, because as you squeeze down on this, the retention can get really tight. So I'm expecting the sheath to tighten up around the Kydex and really have a tight fit like it did on this one. So I put this little retainer in here to keep it from closing. Let's see. So as you can tell, it comes in and out nicely. This is a knife my dad made, and has that nice snap fit in there, so you can not worry about it coming out. Alright, so get that out of the way, and we'll get started here. So the way I do it, I take my insert and put it up towards the top of the paper, and however much leather I want left over, usually just the thickness of my straps, we're going to put about right there. And we'll start off with a big clip here, and I'll kind of pinch it onto the insert and roll it off, and then that's going to give us a nice crease right there. I'm going to go ahead and fold that all the way down, and that's going to mark on the paper our pattern. What we're eventually trying to find is a pattern like this, and as you can tell, so once we've got that pattern kind of scribed in, I'm going to take my Sharpie, just kind of hit the edge, giving me an outline. Okay, wherever this ends, I want to make sure I mark it. We're just scribble tracing. Okay. Alright, so now we have the basic outline of the sheath, and we're going to have to add just a little bit of leather onto the outside to wrap around it, because we need to actually overlap the tabs we're going to create and tuck them into the holes that we're going to make. So that'll all become clear later. So what we're going to do is add 1 centimeter all the way around. Okay, so all the way around we're going to add 1 centimeter. Alright, so when I lost memory on my SD card, we were putting this line on right here, and I did a quick sketch, and basically we've got 1 centimeter going all the way around, and then we put in a little diamond-shaped flap right here for the little Scandinavian touch. After that, we're going to draw in some straps, and you can pretty much draw them in any way you want. I'm just roughing it out because I carefully drew these ones. So 1 centimeter all the way around. Made a little diamond shape here. You can fix it later. When they're both together, you just cut them together. These straps are about 1 centimeter wide, and I just flare them out at the ends just a little bit. And that's the gist of it. So after you've got this shape here, you're going to find a piece of leather, and I kept going before I realized the SD card was out, and I've already gone ahead here a little bit, but basically what you're going to do is find a spot on the leather that will accommodate the whole pattern, and then find some pointy object, whether it's your knife or this blackhead remover, which I use for everything but removing blackheads. You just pop holes all the way through the pattern so that you have a connect the dots type deal going on your leather. And then, after you've done that, you find yourself some hole punches. And these are super cheap. They're like $3. It's a 6-piece set. You can get them at Tandy. They're probably like $20, but I just go to the flea market and get the cheap made in China brand. They're probably made in China from Tandy too. And I find a hole punch that will accommodate these little spaces here that are going to be hard to cut out later. And I just take my hole punch, put it in those spaces, bam, use my little 2-pound sledgehammer and cut them out. And then once I'm done doing that, I'm going to want to cut out the rest of the pattern. And there's probably a better way to do it, but I'm going to use a razor blade. Let's see here. So I'm going to get my glasses on. It makes it a lot easier. Now I can see the dots. You start right here on the strap. Doesn't matter where you start. And just going to try to hold the razor blade in the cutting board as I pull the leather, almost like I'm sewing. So right here you're just going to kind of flow right into that hole. And then and if something isn't making sense to you, okay, there it is. It wasn't making sense to me because I couldn't. Stop and check it out. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Okay, so this is the diamond here. Okay, leather's all cut out now, and we're going to have to make some holes here which will allow us to lace this thing together. And so what I did was I took the pattern and I sort of cut off all the extraneous stuff and just drew circles until I had the right pattern. And what you need to do is have an odd number of circles on one side and an even number of circles on the other side. So this has our even number over here. There's 20 circles. And this has our odd number. It's 19 circles. And basically what we're going to do is cut a line on the side. Oops, don't want to do that. Cut a line on the side through each circle that on the even side. And that's going to create all of these little T-type shapes right here. And those T-type shapes are going to fold over and into a hole over here. so that's what's going to give us that little stitchless pattern. Okay, so anyway, I've sort of traced it out here. I'm going to take that and kind of line it up, and then I'm going to take my little pointy tool and go in there and make holes, which I've already done. And we have a hole that marks every place I want to punch it with one of these leather punches. So I'm going to start right here at the top. I'm just going to center that, check it, make sure, okay. And then I'm going to just sort of check my work here and put a few marks to make sure that everything's working out the same as I thought it would. And it seems to be pretty good. They're fairly even between each other. Pretty good distance from the edge. I might just bring it in just a little bit so that there's only about 1/8 of an inch between the edge and the hole. Okay, so here we go. Little sledgehammer, scare a dog, and what we've got going on here now is the entire thing is cut out. We have our 20 holes on this side. We have our 19 holes on this side. I didn't realize that the memory had run out, so I'd already done this part. But basically, we're going to take our razor blade and we're going to cut along the side of the first hole, which is going to make a little T right there. We're going to cut in the center of the second hole, which produces a T, and then the center of each hole all the way up the line. And that's going to give us a whole bunch of T's that will interlock into these holes here. Okay, so the very first T goes into this hole here, and let me tell you, it is a bear to get it in there. So we're going to do a couple of things to make it just a little bit easier. Okay, first of all, we're going to find one of our, this is the one we used. We're going to find one that's just a hair bigger. I think it's this one right here, because I've used it before. And we're going to enlarge this hole here so it makes the whole process start off just a little bit easier. Alright. And then we're going to take this original one, and we need to put a couple of holes for our straps to go through. And I think we're actually going to do that with the bigger ones here. It doesn't really matter, but put one right there, and one right there. Okay. Now, I have a little bowl of water here, and I've got a pair of tweezers as well. And I think that tweezers or a good sharp needle nose pliers might be your best bet on this, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to take and dip this in the water for just a few seconds.